And so I have in front of me, in my hand, the full amplified Raw review for 3/18/24 as it sits now, just 18 days away from WrestleMania 40. Did Cody Rhodes respond to The Rock? And if so, did he leave the cheesy smile in his personal hauler, in his tour bus? And did he come ready to dig in to get amplified? The bigger question is, when this show was said and done, does it finally feel like WrestleMania season? I have all the answers in this full throttle amplified Raw review. We're going to get to it. First, a little bit of news from Brian Gewirtz, a response, if you will, because Cody did. I'll tell you right now in the cold open teaser, Cody did respond to The Rock. We'll talk all about the promo, what was said, what the community is kind of at odds with. We'll talk all about it. But there was a name drop in that promo from Cody to Brian Gewirtz, who of course is a former WWE writer and currently the right-hand man writer of The Rock. And Cody says, that was a cute phrase you came up with, Brian, final boss. So he didn't credit The Rock with coming up with that. He credited Brian Gewirtz. So Gewirtz responded late last night to Cody Rhodes. And he says, and I quote, "Final boss isn't anything I came up with. Rock calls himself that because he is that. If it makes you feel better, Cody, I was the first to tell him about your spectacularly stupid-ass dog." I was the first to tell him about your stupid-ass dog. Final boss is something he came up with because he is that. So response, Gewirtz is showing no chill as of late. This dude's digging in. I'm loving it. Gewirtz just shot down those false reports recently. You guys heard maybe that these journalists, reporters, podcasters, they once again are trying to make The Rock look like he's the most evil thing in pro wrestling, like he's in business for himself, like he's been sent to destroy WWE. And they made up a story that his Friday Night SmackDown segment went too long, and because of that, time was taken from other matches, so you didn't get to see your precious Dragon Lee for another minute or two. You didn't get to see Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne wrestle for 20 minutes because we were too busy being entertained by The Rock. How dare they give The Rock 20 minutes and then he goes overtime? But Brian Gewirtz shot that right down. Gewirtz actually responded because these journalists thought they were going to get away with making it up, right? Sounds like a story that would be accurate. Oh, it's The Rock taking more time than he was allotted. That's something people will believe. So they just made up the story, not thinking that it would be debunked, right? They were thinking Paul Levesque McMahon's not gonna debunk this or dispute it. He's got better things to do. The Rock won't dispute it, we don't think. I think we can make this story up and nobody will dispute it, right? Rock went overtime and wrestlers got their matches cut short. What they didn't expect is Brian Gewirtz gives 0 Fs these days. And Gewirtz responded. And Gewirtz said, actually, we were 30 seconds cheap. We were 30 seconds under the allotted time. So we gave Paul Levesque McMahon back 30 seconds so that precious Dragon Lee can do a couple, 2-3 more moves. Gewirtz said, not only did we get everything that needed to be done in the 20-minute allotted time, we gave Paul Levesque McMahon back 30 seconds. And don't forget, The Rock needed the 20 minutes because he was selling Mania himself, these main events. There was no Cody Rhodes on Friday. There was no Sethington Rollins. There was no Roman Reigns. It was just The Rock. This is a dude that last wrestled, 12 years ago. This is a dude that doesn't do this full time, as many fans and talent will say. He's a part-timer. Like it's a bad thing. We talked about last night on the live stream. It was John Cena to Roman Reigns, I believe, when Cena said, I do this better part-time than you'll ever do it full-time, right? I don't care if he's a part-time, full-time, media time. Is he great at what he does? Is he better than the person on the other side of that microphone? That's what I care about. And The Rock had to sell WrestleMania by himself on Friday, and he pulled the trifecta, the equivalent to the baseball cycle, base hit, double, triple, home run. It's so hard to do the cycle in baseball to get every single hit, base hit, double, triple, home run. But it happens, and when it does, it's something special. In pro wrestling, if you can do the trifecta, if you can hit for the cycle in the promo, story time, sing-along, and a scathing promo, it's rarely done. I believe John Cena may have done it maybe a time or two. It's the last I can remember. The Rock, and aside from The Rock, obviously, in the past, The Rock did that on Friday and then gave back 30 seconds. But nobody wanted to give him credit. They made up a story saying he went overtime because it sounds like something that could be true, right? That's why I always say, careful when you trust these reporters and journalists. They have a narrative. And right now, it's just to make The Rock look like he's so evil for coming back to try to help WWE and make it fun again. Oh no, we can't have that. Dragon Lee needs a 40-minute match, because that's entertaining. Stop. Brian Gerwitz. At this point, I'd rather Cody Rhodes and his damn dog versus The Rock and Brian Gerwitz. That sounds much more fun for Mania than Cody and Seth, Rock and Roman. Guys, let's get into it. That's our cold open. A little bit of fiery passion, calling out some reporters and journalists who don't know jack shit. They just make up stories that they think sounds pretty true, right? People are gonna believe this. It's The Rock. We can say anything about The Rock. They'll believe it. He went overtime, right? Because everyone knows The Rock he likes to talk on the mic. Rock went into business for himself. He took time from the talent. It's bad enough he's taking a roster spot at WrestleMania. Yeah, forget the fact that we just went to 2 nights. We got like 16 matches bare minimum. But The Rock, 12 years it's been since this dude's taken a Mania. 12 years. 1 spot. Please, Paul Levesque McMahon has his hands full with the rest of the card. He's got 10 matches already that he's got to try to find good stories within them. Make us care about those 10 matches. And then he's got to pencil in 6 more matches, which he didn't even start last night. Let's talk about it. Raw 3/18/24. All right, Raw 3/18/24, Hour 1. We kick this show off with Jay and Jimmy Uso. They start the show middle of the ring. Jay tells Jimmy at WrestleMania, I'm going to knock the yeet out of you. Solo and Jimmy double team Jay. Cody for the save. No smile and minus the suit jacket so he can deliver that Cody cutter to one of them. Maybe it was it Solo? Was it Jay? I don't know. He delivered a Cody cutter, I know that, and then the bloodline retreated. And then Cody just lifts the hand up of Jay Uso. Signs were giving out that said, we want Cody. These these bright ass yellow signs. And if you look, it was for the camera side, right? It was just for everybody that was on camera, right? In that giant section that you pick up on screen. They all had these yellow signs that said, we want Cody. So obviously they were trying to do damage control because The Rock was immensely cheered on Friday, and it's Memphis, and just he can flip a crowd, right? Like that. He can go out, first of all, jaws drop, cell phones in the air, and then fans are like, oh wait, we're supposed to be booing him, he's a heel, but then 2 minutes into his promo, 1 minute into his promo, it's pretty clear there's no way you can boo The Rock. He's too good. So then he flips the crowd. But on Friday, it was next level. I mean, you would have thought Rock is the hero in this whole story. So this was damage control. They handed out the signs, and then on top of that, later in the night, they recapped. I think it was actually the end of Hour 1. They recapped The Rock's promo, and if you go back and watch the video package, they picked up fans, right? They singled on fans that were like slow motion booing The Rock. So they tried to make it look like Memphis was totally against him, and The Rock is the heel. And that's why Cody said what he said last night, too. We're going to get to that. Cody, I think that was start of Hour 2, Cody's promo. I'm going to tell you what he said and why he said that and why there's a lot of truth. That's truly how Cody feels. A part of it, anyway. So we'll talk about that, but that was interesting. You could tell that WWE was in damage control, not Dakota Kai's group, but full damage control for The Rock being so damn good and still so damn popular. But at least Cody was amplified, right? I mean, the start of the show, there was no smiling, and thank goodness he had to deliver a wrestling move because there was no suit jacket on. He did have the other parts of the 5-piece suit on, right? Even the little vest part, I believe, but it was all black. So it's like, he meant a little bit more business, maybe. So this was a more amplified Cody. The real test was going to come for the promo later on. That's when we were really going to see what Cody Rhodes are we dealing with. After what The Rock said on Friday, what The Rock did, lighting the wrestling world on fire with that promo, Cody's response was everything. So we'll talk about that. That started hour number 2. But here, it was just a little test the waters type thing, right? Send Cody out there, no music, nothing like that. Have him make a save. Let's see how the crowd is responding. We'll give out the signs. Complete damage control. That was segment number 1. So if you're selling me Jay and Jimmy, you got to do better than this, obviously, right? I mean, they cut a little bit of a promo talking about, like, I miss you, but, like, you left the bloodline, so, like, I had to stand up. I don't know, man. And then the cheesy line for the second week in a row at WrestleMania, I'm going to beat the yeet out of you. That's just, The Rock's using this word cool, and then Cody's following it up, talking about cool. Seth talking about cool. Everybody's talking about cool and wrestling being cool, right? That's the word of the month, it seems. Well, I don't know how cool it is if you're about to fight somebody and say, I'm going to beat the yeet out of you. Do you really see that happening in the streets? Somebody bumps into you at the coffee shop, knocks your coffee over, doesn't even say sorry, just walks by you. In fact, flicks you off, basically. Get away from me. You're going to go right up to that person's face. I doubt you're going to say, I'm going to beat the yeet out of you. And there's people, obviously, the families and the kid, they love it, right? They're in the front, yeah, beat the yeet. Yeet the beat out of them. Ma, he's going to beat the yeet out of him. You'll probably see that on a t-shirt soon, right? Beat the yeet. Oh, bro, I don't know. I can't get behind the yeet anyway because it just sounds silly. But then on top of that, I mean, that's how we're selling WrestleMania. Jimmy and Jay, 2 weeks in a row. I'm going to beat the yeet out of you is how the promo ends. Very odd. Takes me right out of it. Then we go into the first match of the night. This is DIY defeating the Creed brothers via pinfall. DIY goes to WrestleMania. The real MVP here was Michael Cole screaming like this was the main event at a Mania. You would have thought this was Daniel Bryan capturing his championship at 30. Shawn Michaels in WrestleMania 12, the boyhood dream becomes a reality. You would have thought Stone Cold just beat Shawn Michaels at 14 with Tyson making the count. Michael Cole was screaming like this was the biggest match in wrestling history. And this was just to qualify for one of 5 spots in the Mania title match. Not even for like the number one, not even to become number 1 contenders. This was to qualify for one of 5 spots. So at Mania, it's not just the number 1 contenders getting a shot. It's the number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 contenders. Basically, everybody is in. Oprah. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, you get a title match, you get a title match. We're just throwing in a bunch of... This was just to qualify to be one of 5 teams to go for the titles. And we treated this like it was the biggest match in history. Now, I love the passion, don't get me wrong. I always say the commentators have to sell this, right? Just a week ago, the last several weeks, I've been talking about how Cole and McAfee, they've just been cooked. They've been zoned out. It's clear that they're not entertained by the show. So they just go into business for themselves and they start getting goofy. It's one thing to have fun and that's contagious to the crowd watching or listening at home, right? You want to have fun and you like the chemistry between Cole and McAfee. And then it gets to the point where it's debilitating, right? You're actually taking away from the wrestlers in the match. I mean, you're being so goofy, you're laughing at everything that we can't take the match seriously, and I feel bad for the dudes in the ring, and that's what happened just last week or 2 weeks ago with the Sami Zayn match, but I've been noticing that for a while now. McAfee admits he doesn't watch the show regularly, so when he shows up, Michael Cole has to go over, like, who is who, this person just called up from NXT, this is who he is, and then McAfee just kind of just navigates his way through the waters. But he admits he doesn't watch the show. Michael Cole admits he's cooked. I mean, he's already losing his hearing. The retirement is it's right there, right? He sees the light at the end of the tunnel. So I love the passion, but I'm like, if you're giving all of this now, what are you going to do in the third hour? You're going to be completely cooked. And guys, whoa, there was a match in the third hour. We'll go over it. I won't spoil it now. But there was a match in the third hour where they were done. And there's a funny story behind that. We'll go over it in a few minutes. But man, Cole was full of it there, man. He was just like, I'm going to give it all right now. And then the rest of the show, it is what it is. But DIY defeat the Creed brothers, the real MVP, Michael Cole. Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell defeat Chance and Carter via submission. LeRae taps out Chance. Riveting television. That's what I have in my notes. There's nothing more. I have in my notes the match, exactly what happened, and my thought on this. My thoughts were, in quotes here, riveting television. It's my exact notes. Riveting television. Slight sarcasm, I would say. Hour 1 ends recapping The Rock's epic SmackDown promo. Again, they tried to paint The Rock like he was getting booed and people despised him on Friday. If you watch the show, it was anything but the truth. Hour number 2 starts off. Cody Rhodes, the moment of truth. What Cody are we getting? So Cody Rhodes starts hour 2, no smile. No smile. That's the first step. Thank you. There was moments, right, because he was walking backstage to get to Gorilla to go out, and there was times where he wanted to. He would come across somebody, but he kept the game face on. Good. I believe he did come out with a suit jacket this time, but it was all black again, so a little bit more of a business Cody. No, so what do you want to talk about? None of it. He did not start off with that. I did not say it last night. I am so happy because that is not. You have to break away from there's nothing about this that's normal now. With The Rock and the promo that he gave on Friday, talking about Mama Rhodes, smacking the taste out of your mouth, the yellow off your teeth at this whole press conference. There is no status quo or normal promo that you should be following or blueprint. You got to be more real. Leave the so what do you want to talk about with the smile in your personal hauler, your personal tour bus. The smile, the suit should have been there. So what do you want to talk about? Leave all of that. So from the jump, even though he had the suit on, it was all black. No smile. No, so what do you want to talk about? It's those little things that are not so little, guys. Those details are massive in the grand spectrum. So that was big from the jump that I noticed. Some of the things that he said, right? And he decided to finally dig in, get amplified a little bit. He says, I don't think you're a heel, Rock. I think you're an asshole. Now, I mentioned this earlier, that there was a line where there's some real feeling behind what Cody is saying. That was the line. I don't think you're a heel, Rock. I think you're an asshole. What he's saying is, like, you're supposed to go out there and act like you're the heel on Friday, right? Help me out. I'm the face. But you went out there and the crowd was won over in a second, and you never tried to distance yourself from that crowd reaction. You just played the hero the entire segment on Friday night. What The Rock is supposed to do? Nobody else is there, man. There's no Cody. There's no Roman. There's no Sethington. And he's got to entertain for 20 minutes. And if you have the crowd in the palm of your hand, Cody, you're going to have to step up, man. The Rock is not going to take away the whole crowd. Because you don't want to lose the crowd. You don't want to risk losing them. They were hot on Friday night for The Rock, and nobody else was showing up to WrestleMania. So I totally would get why Cody would be pissed at that. But I don't understand what anybody thought Rock was supposed to do in that moment. Bro, the crowd was eating out of his hand, and at that point, you got to roll with that because it's just you, and you have a 20-minute promo that is sitting. It's in your hands, man. If it goes off the rails, it's your fault. If it's successful, you get the praise. But no matter what, you're out there for 20 minutes. Good luck, live mic. By the way, they gave 30 seconds back. 19 and a half. But that was the line where I knew there was some raw emotion there. You know, like, I don't think you're a heel, Rock. Basically, after what I saw Friday, no, you're an asshole. The Rock's trying to sell this thing, man. You step up. Don't worry about The Rock being less of, right? Because that's what you're asking. Rock, stop being so popular. Rock, stop getting the crowd to cheer for you and stop eating into it, feeding into it. No, instead of asking someone else to be less than, you be better than, be more than. You step up. Don't ask others to step down. That's how I always look at it. But that was a line there, man. I don't think you're a heel, Rock. I think you're an asshole. He says, Rock, you're a whiny bitch. Basically, a lot of this, as much as I love the turning it up, getting more amplified, digging in, a lot of this was taking what The Rock already said and putting a lighter twist on it, right? Because he's already called him a crybaby bitch. So now Rock is a whiny bitch. So Cody is a crybaby bitch, and Rock is a whiny bitch. Basically, we're just dealing with a lot of bitches. Godfather would be happy right now. Dealing with a lot of bitches. He says, Cody Rhodes says, we don't need you to save us or the WWE. I actually would beg to differ on that one. You absolutely need The Rock to save WrestleMania in WWE right now, because who else is saving WrestleMania? If you take The Rock out of this WrestleMania season is a bust that cannot be rectified. At least we have a few weeks where we're saying this is the worst WrestleMania season of all time, but there still is time to rectify it. If you take The Rock out, who's rectifying this? What storyline is jumping off the screen to you? Roman and Cody, by the way, is a far distant memory. When everybody said, Bleasley, it's going to be better when he loses at 39. A whole year to really build it up. You're going to see Bleasley. See, Bleasley doesn't understand. We're playing the long game. HHH, man. He's long-term storytelling. And what you found out quickly is BC knew exactly what I was talking about. That's why you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen more. BC was trying to tell you. I already saw miles ahead of everybody else. WWE was going to drop the ball easily because Levesque McMahon never had Cody penciled in for 40. That's the truth. If they could get The Rock, it was always going to be The Rock. Always. And even if they don't get The Rock, they always had that open. It was always TBD. To be determined. It was always TBD. But everybody thought that Levesque McMahon was already long-term storytelling at 39. No, there was a last-minute audible, and Roman took the title and went home on vacation, basically for the whole year, while Cody Rhodes took on Judgment Day 70 times. That's a real stat. And what are you going to try to sell me on? Oh, Bleasley, wasn't it so much better to wait for more struggle and adversity? I never saw the struggle and adversity. I saw one dude take on Judgment Day 70 times. That's it. Brock Lesnar broke his arm 3 times, and then they hugged it out with never even a reason for the matches with Brock. That's all I saw. If that's struggle and adversity, I could have watched Cody do this at 39, and this would have been a less messier WrestleMania season. And don't get me started with everything that happened from Rumble on. You don't blame The Rock for all of this. You blame HHH for not doing this correctly. Audibles are going to be called okay, but you got to do them the right way, man. Everything was botched by Levesque McMahon. And at least The Rock is out there trying to rectify those wrongs, trying to sell Mania on his own time and on their television shows. Because nobody else is selling this. There was no Cody, no Seth, no Roman on Friday night. When Rock cut that promo this whole weekend, you didn't hear a peep on the social doohickey accounts from Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins or Cody Rhodes. Cody's talking about video games. Who is selling Mania other than The Rock? Nobody. Nobody. So you absolutely needed The Rock to save Mania. But it's a cute little line, I guess. But that was the most BS line in this whole promo. At WrestleMania, Cody says, are we going to get the fiery Rock or are we going to get the one with LDS, Little Dick Syndrome? At WrestleMania, I don't think we're going to get the fiery boss or the final boss. The fiery final boss. He says, I don't think we're going to get the final boss. I think we're just going to get Roman's side chick. again, this is taking what The Rock already said on a more cool, badass level and giving us the Dollar General version of it, right? Because Rock already called Seth Rollins Cody's little girlfriend. Cody's girlfriend. And then Cody is now saying that The Rock is Roman's side chick. So it's just a different twist on what The Rock already said, right? Just like when he says, what'd he say? Yeah, you're a whiny bitch, right? Well, he already called you a crybaby bitch. So it's the same thing. You're just rearranging some words. So it's the tale of two tapes, right? The community is kind of like, they're split on this, right? On one hand, you have those that are saying, all right, this was it was an attempt, but it didn't come across as realistic. It wasn't believable. You just don't believe Cody saying these things. It just didn't come across right. And what he said is just taking what Rock already said in just a lesser capacity. And then you have the flip side where people are going, wow, Cody Rhodes absolutely slayed The Rock, man. Fatality. Get over here, right? WWE.com, for instance, or no, maybe it was WWE on Fox or one of those sites. But their headline to that clip was Cody Rhodes. What was the word they used? They used a specific word. I thought it was hilarious. Not slayed. Roasts. Cody Rhodes roasts The Rock. He roasted The Rock. And I had to go back to my notes. I'm like, did he roast? What'd I miss? Whiny bitch. Little dick syndrome. You're not a heel, you're an asshole. And I don't think you're a final boss. I just think you're a side chick. I mean, he gave some zingers back to The Rock. Roasted The Rock. I didn't see that. But there's the tale of two tapes, right? Some people think it just wasn't so believable. But he tried. And others are saying, wow, fatality. Rock got slayed. Listen, that's the eye of the beholder. I am happy at least that Cody Rhodes turned it up. That's all we need right now. That's what I've been preaching. I don't say all of this to hear myself talk. I say it because I want pro wrestling to become better. We do that by helping the characters, the segments, the storylines, helping them, right? Beyond the constructive criticism. This is literally what is going to help. We all know, if we're being honest, Cody Rhodes weeks ago needed to leave the smile and the suits and the so what do you want to talk about in the tour bus. Leave that in the back. We all knew he should have been amplified weeks ago. In fact, right after Royal Rumble, we should have been getting that serious Cody Rhodes. I mean, you got the biggest box office attraction smacking the taste out of your mouth. We have Paul Levesque McMahon making you look like an idiot, going out there, not even like, not telling anybody your explanation of why you're contradicting everything you say. So Levesque McMahon's making you look like an idiot. The Rock's smacking the taste out of your mouth and you're smiling afterwards. Nothing was adding up. Like, the fans that show up to these house shows and even the television shows, they're going to cheer. That's going to be a big pop, right? It's a lot of kids, a lot of families, right? Cody Rhodes. I get it. And don't forget, I've been a Cody supporter way before the Stardust run. I was a supporter of Cody Rhodes when he was in Legacy. Do you even remember that? Randy Orton was leading a group with Ted DiBiase Jr. and Cody Rhodes. I've always been a Cody supporter. I'll be the first to tell you, this Cody Rhodes, weeks ago, after the Rumble, he needed to turn that up. No more smiling, be amplified. You gotta leave that aside, man. There's no reason last week he's walking the corridors with a giant smile, smiling at the catering crew and empty walls. What are you smiling about? Rock smacked the taste out of your mouth. He's talking about Mama Rhodes. HHH is making you look like an idiot. You got the biggest match again of your career with Roman Reigns around the corner. And the Bloodline is talking about how they're going to make sure you don't win the title. And you're just smiling. BC, that's the appeal, man. Under pressure, just relax. That's the message, BC. No, the message should be, I'm here to rock out. I'm done with the smiling and being nice. I'm ready to take out the bloodline. And if that means The Rock, then such be. My point is, I'm just, listen, whether it's believable or what we saw last night, whether you loved it, whether you thought it was a fatality on The Rock, slayed him, or whether you thought it was just a weak-ass attempt, at least Cody Rhodes left what needed to be left behind and turned up the amplification. More of this Cody Rhodes is only going to be better for us, but more importantly, him. He needs to start acting like it's actually WrestleMania season, and he's in two of the biggest events, two of the biggest matches. So, feel how you want on it. I'm a mixed bag on it. But what I know is that that's what we've needed for a while now. That's the only way this works. The Rock can't do it all by himself, man. The Rock is busting his ass tirelessly. With no help, it seems. Nobody's on their social doohickey trying to help him sell it, no. They're making fun of The Rock for cutting a 10-minute promo online. Oh, you got nothing better to do? No, he's working 25 hours a day in a 24-hour period. This is right after the gym, and he knows he's got to sell this thing, right? He's thinking ahead. He loves this shit, and he just wants to sell it. He wants it to be the best it could possibly be. So if he's got to go into overdrive, he's going to do that. The Rock does that hours before SmackDown, then does the promo on SmackDown, and the whole weekend not a peep from anybody else. No Roman, no Cody, no Seth. That's bullshit. The only other wrestler that's really selling himself on the social doohickey is Drew McIntyre. Salute to Drew, by the way. Drew's been lighting it up on his time. Selling the Seth Rollins match, selling this new persona of Drew. Drew understands what needs to be done. You're going to have these social doohickey machines. Quit with the fucking little selfies and all that. Sell your character. Be in character. You can learn a lot from Bray Wyatt. And MJF used to do it too. Don't know if he still does. Some wrestlers, they understand. Use that as an extension to get your character over and to sell your matches. Not just sell what breakfast you had that morning. So, it's a step. Whether it's a small step or whether you look at it like a giant step, it's a step in the right direction for Cody Rhodes and whatever happens going forward between these four. Then Paul Heyman comes to the ring after Cody's done with that promo. He says on Friday on SmackDown, only Roman Reigns will be showing up for their face-to-face, no bloodline. So Cody agrees that only he will be showing up as well. No Jey Uso, no Sethington. They shake hands, segment over. It was, if I had to be pressed to say one or the other, I'll call it a decent to even good segment that had a poor finish. Crowd was not jacked up for it. They were not like, yeah, they were not firmly behind the finish at all because it just ended with a handshake with Paul Heyman. It's an odd ending, right? Just call it what it was. It was an odd ending. And then Cody had to try to fire them up again when his music hit, but it just didn't work. So, one of those scenarios, when you see a decent to even good movie, but it's a poor finish, it kind of leaves that bad taste in your mouth. It's kind of what happened here. No matter how you feel about it, you know that was it was a lackluster finish. Not saying it was a wrong finish. They're setting up SmackDown. Lackluster for sure. Then we go to Chad Gable and Sami Zayn backstage. This was the biggest controversy from last week. Of course, the controversy stems from the fans wanting Chad Gable last week to win that whole gauntlet match, go to WrestleMania to take on Gunther. And instead, it was Sami Zayn. So backstage, Gable tells Zayn, and I quote, "You can't beat Gunther. You can't beat Gunther." And then we go to commercial break. When we come back, Sami Zayn and Gunther, middle of the ring for the IC title match contract signing. Gunther plants seeds of doubt in Sami. But Zayn declares that there is no doubt, and he will be the one taking Gunther down and taking his title. There's nothing special here, but I love Sami's passion. So it's kind of like Cody Rhodes. Nothing over the top, nothing special. Hard pressed to say it was really good, but you got to appreciate the passion. Whether it was Michael Cole screaming like it was the main event of WrestleMania in match 1, DIY versus Creed Brothers, or Cody Rhodes turning it up a few notches, Sami Zayn tapping into the Zayn that we loved last year around this time. You know, you started to see that the attitude is changing a little bit last night. It's like the locker room finally got the memo that it is WrestleMania season. And I can't blame them for not having it in the past. As early as last week, can't blame them. HHH has not made it seem like it. But the talent last night is starting to portray that it's WrestleMania season. So I love the passion from Sami. And clearly Gunther is not taking Sami seriously. And because he's not taking Sami seriously, this will inevitably be his downfall at WrestleMania when he drops that title to Sami. Because that's what's happening. Gunther's not going to take that title out of Mania, obviously. And I know they have a match or event in like Germany, I believe, coming up. But that's Mania is where obviously Sami wins this title. Sami would have to. There's no way that you can put Sami in there and lose this. And it's time for Gunther to go to main event status. He's got to start taking on. It's Gunther's time. Gunther cannot keep going in the mid card, guys. There's nobody left. In fact, he's already taken on Gable, even if Gable did win last week. In fact, he's already beaten Sami Zayn. So we're just recycling the mid card. What's that? Miz, Tozawa, Oda, he's taking on everybody. Then you got to go through the heels again. Bronson Reed. So it's time. It's time for Gunther to go take on the big dogs now when Punk comes back. People like Punk. I know he's on SmackDown, but people like LA Knight. People like Sethington Rollins, Cody Rhodes. It's time for those type of matches for Gunther's future. And you see where this is headed, right? Imperium will get involved, obviously, at Mania, but Chad Gable is probably, more than likely, he's going to make the save at Mania. Chad Gable will help Sami Zayn win that championship. Although, if you did want the title to stay on Gunther, Chad Gable costs Sami Zayn the title, and that leads up to a pretty cool multi-month feud, Chad Gable and Sami Zayn. You could do that too. But Gunther has to take that title too. Or Gunther has to... He's got to be elevated to the main event status. It's too long. He's ran through everybody on the mid-card. Be interesting to see. But Gable's going to play a role in this. So you can already see that. Then we go into Miz and R-Truth versus Indus. The Miz is rapping with R-Truth, guys. And it's as bad as it was when they did it years ago, by the way. It was bad. Listen for yourself. Miz is just... If this was VKM, this segment would be ripped apart. I doubt anybody's ripping it apart, though. I bet you people are just saying how much they love R-Truth, right? That's it. Doesn't matter that it doesn't matter that they're rapping. Like, they're just taking the shtick from years ago, and they're just recycling the shtick. If this was a VKM seg, we're ripping this apart, though. You know that. This was bad, man. The rap, and then we go to commercial. It's like, that's what took us to... We had to listen to a horrible rap with the Miz. The Miz is rapping, and then we have to sit through a 3.5 minute commercial. Miz and R-Truth win this match in 3 minutes over Indus. Just stupid. There was no reason for any of this. The rap took longer than the match. Then we go to hour number 3. Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre start hour 3. Seth says, and I quote, "My name is Seth Rollins and I'm a spotlight junkie," as if he's like an addict. So that causes Drew to say in response, and I quote, "Everything's a joke to you. At this point, you're just a parody of yourself." They actually had a really good back and forth. That's never been their issue. I mean, they faced each other 165 times. They faced each other a couple times in the last 4 months-ish. So we've seen this a few times just recently. So we've seen them just talk to one another nonstop. We've seen it so many times. So that's never the issue. And once again, it was a pretty good segment of back and forth promoing. But just like all of the other face-offs earlier, it fell flat at the end. Right? There was no badass hook that grabbed you to put that exclamation point down. Right? Just like Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman and the handshake, and the crowd's like, is that it? And just like Sami Zayn and Gunther, where they have a pretty decent back and forth, and then it just ends with Sami Zayn walking away. And the crowd is like, that's it? And this was the third time. Paul and Cody, Seth and Drew, or Sami and Gunther, and then Seth and Drew. And it just falls flat at the end. They had nothing. And I believe, did Sami just walk off? There's no memorable, I can't even tell you how this ended actually. I think he just walked off. I think Seth just walked off. I don't think there was any physicality, and nor would there need to be at this point. You just have to get creative and have that hook to make us go, all right, this is getting good. Again, you just didn't have it. It's the equivalent to watching a decent movie with a poor ending, and it just leaves that bad taste. Like you wanted to, the whole movie, you thought you were going to rave about it to your friends, your acquaintances, your family. You're going to rave about this movie, you're thinking, right? I can't wait to tell X, Y, and Z about this movie. But then the finish is so poor, or it doesn't make sense, and then you're like, maybe I'm not as excited to tell people about this movie. So, Seth and Drew just saying a lot of words. Nothing amplified in this match. The only thing saving this is Drew McIntyre on his own time on the social doohickey machine. Drew McIntyre has been amazing with his character. Drew is doing what The Rock's trying to do. Drew is trying to save WrestleMania, or at least this main event match, this title match. Salute to Drew. Alpha Academy is next. Otis and Tozawa. This is why I believe Gable is going to be involved somehow with Sami and Gunther, because Gable was not a part of this tag match. To earn a spot to get into one of five, a bunch of contenders to get those titles at Mania. Let's just leave it at that. But Gable's not part of this. Otis and Tozawa. And they're taking on the New Day. More face versus face, right? Just like Creed Brothers versus DIY earlier. And who was the other one? There was another face versus face, right? What was it? I don't know where it was, hour one. But just a bunch more face versus faces, especially in the tag team division. Like DIY versus Creed Brothers, and now Alpha Academy versus the New Day. Why? You're just going to split your audience. LaVette McMahon has to pull his head out of his ass at this point, man. You can't keep doing this. It's helping nobody. And this is where Cole and McAfee, by the way, Otis Tozawa versus the New Day, this is where Cole and McAfee started to lose it. It was 10:22 p.m. Eastern time. And I literally had to jot it down because a minute earlier, BC finally hit that wall, man. The show was just kind of dragging at that point. And this is why I say the third hour has to be cut off. And then we concentrate. If there's a chance to save Raw, then it's got to be cut to 2 hours. It drags, and it's not good enough. If Raw was good enough, I'd be loving 3 hours of Raw. Who wants less of something that's good? More! But because Raw struggles, and the show is so bad too often, the third hour is a drag. And guys, at about 10:21, I literally said to myself, oh no, here's the wall. There was not enough coffee in the world. At that point, I was double fisting coffee, and I just couldn't. I'm like, this show is dragging, man. And a minute later, that's when Cole and McAfee just started giggling, and you could tell they were just checked out. They went to a commercial. Cole says can Alpha Academy get a spot or something like that? And Pat McAfee's screaming out, I don't know, there's a chance, Cole, there's a chance. In an accent, almost like they're just screwing around with one another now, not taking it seriously. And this has been what I've been telling you guys they've been doing for weeks. At about that third hour, Cole and McAfee were cooked. They were no longer tuned into this. They were not entertained clearly, so they started entertaining themselves. And you feel bad for the talents in there. But at that point, the show was dragging. It just wasn't good. And Otis and Tozawa versus New Day, who is beyond stale, is not going to help matters. And I say that because sadly, that crowd reaction when the New Day won, that was actually sad. Because I really I like Kofi Kingston. But wow, man. Let me set it up. First of all, New Day wins this match via pinfall. Xavier pins Tozawa off the tightrope elbow. And again, what was sad was the crowd couldn't care less when New Day won this match. I mean, you could watch it, listen for yourself. The crowd did not. And isn't it odd how BC said that I was done at that point? Cole and McAfee at that moment was done. The crowd was done. Tozawa and Otis versus New Day was the match where everybody was just like, can we do better? It was like that simultaneous moment where the whole wrestling world was like, this ain't it. It's Mania season. And now we're starting to feel like, is this show over yet? So again, it's sad. I like the New Day. You guys know the praise I heap upon Big E and how much respect I have for Kofi. But I mean, the New Day needs a massive rehaul. There's not much more I can say. The New Day is just so stale, man. And there's just no attempt to do anything with them. There's no attempt to. And by the way, in all honesty, too, even if they tried to do something with them, because they've tried these mini breaks in the past, or at least when one gets injured, unfortunately, and one has to go a little bit solo, they always go back to the New Day. It's comfortable, right? We can get the New Day Rocks chants, right? People giggle and start gyrating and dancing, and if you keep going back to it, thinking you're going to get a different result, you're going to fail every time. It's like getting married and then divorced, but you keep getting married and divorced to the same individual, right? You marry the same person 5 times. Did you think it was going to be better or any more special than the first 4 times? Did you think anything was truly going to change if you divorced them 4 times in the past? You think there wouldn't be a 5th? Do you notice a trend or no? They're stale, dude. The New Day is beyond stale. You throw in Tozawa and Otis 2.5 hours into this wrestling show that has been subpar anyway. Yeah, everybody's going to be checked out. Anyway, New Day earns their way into this match. New Day at WrestleMania, one of 6 teams going for those titles, if you include the champions. Then it's main event time. WrestleMania season. So you know Nia Jax is in the main event because nothing screams WrestleMania season than Nia Jax in the main event, right? Elimination Chamber, Nia Jax in the main event. Raw, 3 weeks before Mania, Nia Jax in the main event. She's taking on Becky Lynch. This was a last woman standing match. Becky defeats Jax. There was 2 big spots at the end of this match. There was a Manhandle Slam from the apron. From the apron through a table on the outside. And Nia Jax, to her credit, she took it like a champ. She just, I mean, you don't do much. You just fall backwards. But she did. So they showed that in slow motion too. Probably shouldn't have. But there was a lot going on in that manhandle slam. But she took it like a champ for sure. And then moments later, Becky Lynch up on the ladder, hits a leg drop onto Jax through the commentator table. So that will wake Cole and McAfee up. And Nia Jax is not able to reach or stand up to the count of 10. So last woman standing is Becky Lynch. Post-match, Rhea Ripley comes to the ring. Becky and Rhea have a pretty solid face-off. Rhea blows a kiss to Becky, and Becky looks like she legit wants to haul off on Rhea. We fade to black. Show over. But I like the intensity in Becky, right? And you truly believe that Rhea and Becky just want to like start, or at least Becky wants to really just start punching away, hauling off on Rhea Ripley. So, would we have liked more to end the show like a real cliffhanger? Of course, but at least that was a fun little face-off. Again, fade to black, show is over. So, let's go back to the question I had in the teaser, the cold open teaser, many minutes ago. When this show was said and done, do you feel like it's more of a WrestleMania season? Is it starting to feel that way? I will say this. It was a step, no matter how small or how big, it was a step in the right direction because of the talent. You started to see last night, finally, them raise it up, even if it's just a notch or two. They started to act like, oh, it's WrestleMania season. A little bit more fire, a little bit more intensity, a little bit more panic, a little bit more franticness. Like, we got to do this now. I have to get the mindset in now. There is no more waiting. You kept hearing them say, finally, we started to hear Michael Cole, the talent, Becky Lynch backstage before her match. She cut a promo, and they're all talking about how there's 3 weeks to go before Mania. They started to say those words. That's what I want to hear. I want them to acknowledge, not Roman Reigns, but the fact that it is Mania season and that time is running out, and now's the time to turn it up. So, was this a good Monday Night Raw? If you're talking good and bad, I'm not sure I would just pick one of those two words. It left a lot more to be desired. I would give you decent at best. Good? A good show means that's something that there's so much positive to talk about. There's many segments, or at least 2 or 3 that I would go back and watch again. A lot of fun questions arise that I can't wait to see get answered. A cool cliffhanger and a badass hook at the start of the show to keep us in tune for the whole 3 hours. A reason to tune in next week. Need to, not just want to. Right, that's a good show. Great? That's another whole spectrum. Very rarely do you get a great pro wrestling show. But bare minimum, good is what we're expecting. No, I can't tell you that was a good show. I can't tell you that at all. That'd be a lie. I won't nitpick it to say it's bad. It left a lot to be desired. It was a step into feeling like it's Mania season because of the talent. Paul Levesque McMahon, the booking, all of that, still horrible. 3 face-to-faces last night. All of them fell flat at the finish. Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman. Crowd dry at the end of it. Gunther and Sami Zayn. Decent little back and forth. Dry at the end. Crowd completely didn't even know if it was over. And Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. Decent little back and forth. Didn't know how to finish it. Crowd couldn't care less. Bunch of face versus face tag team matches. DIY, Creed Brothers, Alpha Academy, New Day. Random matches like Ricochet. Did I even talk about that, by the way? I didn't even, guys. I totally skipped over. This was an hour or 2. This was after the Cody Rhodes promo. Ricochet defeated the dirtiest of all the Dominics via pinfall off of Recoil. I'm not surprised that I skipped over that and forgot about it, because it's more than forgettable on the show. This is WrestleMania season. Ricochet is just beating Dominic Mysterio. Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell are beating Chance and Carter. Why? Why does Chance and Carter have to lose that match? It's filler just because you have 2 extra minutes. I'd rather you do something fun backstage with Candice and Indi and Chance and Carter than have them in the ring and 2 of them have to lose in 2 minutes. That's filler. Or give them that 2 to 3 minutes backstage. Set up a real fun story. There's ways to do these wrestling shows that are fun and it's going to help the talent. This ain't it. Dominic Mysterio just eating another L just to fill 2 minutes of TV time. Chance and Carter just losing again just to fill up 2 minutes of TV time. Indus just because you got to fill up some TV time. Or I'm sorry, this one actually put Miz and Truth. No, they were already in the tag. I don't even know what matches were to get to the tag team. Stupid fucking turmoil match. Whatever you want to call it. I don't know. There's so much on this show has nothing to do with WrestleMania. It's just odd booking. And I just wish there was somebody running WWE creatively that knew what they were doing. I really wish somebody like The Rock and Brian Gerwitz, maybe another 1 or 2 individuals that are really creative, really smart, were running WWE's creative. It'd be a lot more fun. Unfortunately, it's not The Rock and Brian Gerwitz. It's Paul Levesque McMahon. And this is the type of booking we're going to continue to get. It's weird, man. But the talent stepped up. So for that reason, step in the right direction. I don't know. I do know. That's the sad part. I wish I didn't know, right? Just entertain me, man. Might be like one of those fans that accepts anything that Paul Levesque McMahon dishes out, and I'm sitting there with a wooden bowl and wooden spoon like Oliver Twist. Please, sir, can I have some more? But no, I do know what's going on. I do have a really keen eye for the business, and I'm really smartened to this business, this industry. And because of that, I can't lower my bar. And I know a lot of you guys, my amplified unit, we're not going to lower our bar. We're going to ask them to raise their standards, raise their bar. Until next time, and there will be that next time. Top guys were out. BC and his amplified unit saying check you. Peace.